Welcome back to another episode of That's What She Said. I'm your host, Amanda Bryan, energetic mentor and bio emotional healer. And I have one thing to remind you of from my dude, Tom Petty, and that is you belong among the wildflowers. That lyric has been sitting in my bones this week. Wildflowers don't bloom because the timing is perfect. They bloom anyways, even through cracked sidewalks and unpredictable storms. And this week's new moon in Leo reminds me of that wild, radiant courage, the kind that rises in the face of uncertainty, not because we feel certain, but because we've decided to stay rooted in who we are. We are in an era of deep, often disorienting change. Gaslighting is coming at us from the top down. Manufactured chaos, power grabs, and outright denial of reality, and even the most grounded among us can feel like we're losing our grip. So, today we're going to talk about what it means to stay resilient, grounded, and spiritually clear during times like this. And I wish you could see me because I'm wearing my shirt that says resist. This morning I woke up and I was feeling it. I was feeling a lot of the energies of the week. I have been checking in on the political landscape a little bit more frequently as well. So I'm just feeling it. And I couldn't get out of being in a mood, being angry, being frustrated, that kind of like hopelessness, impending doom, right? Like all of the things that we all experience at some point or at some time or another. And I think that energy, if people sit in it, that is how they're easily manipulated. Like if you look at the people that are being manipulated right now, you can see that they may often hold a lot of that energy. Because when when our energy is distorted, like murky water, right? Like when it's like unsettled, we can't think right. We can't feel, we don't even know what we're feeling. We're just not present. We're in the past, we're in the future, we're feeling all the feels. And so I kind of dug into my spiritual tool case and I tried to do my morning yoga and I was too aggravated. I was too frustrated. And so I begrudgingly took my dog for a walk. Um, and that helped a little bit. And it was funny. Everything happens for a reason. Very rarely do I go for a walk that early. But I ran into my neighbor and he is retired. And I view him as someone that is very grounded, very calm. He's a really just a wonderful person to be around. And we started talking politics. And to share that support coming from him and that encouragement, and something happens, right? Like when we can support one another and feel heard and feel seen. And that helped to lift some of the energy. I was still feeling really frustrated. But it did help to kind of shift things just a little bit. And I was like, I got to keep up with this shift. I got to keep doing it. What else, right? Like I still feel all of this frustration. And so I went to my garden and I started aggressively weeding. And it reminds me of like punk rock mosh pit music where you're like angrily ripping up weeds. But my garden looks great. And then I had a cup of coffee and worked on this episode, and now I'm recording it. And there's been a total shift. And so that's kind of like the intention of this episode today. And I want to start first with the astrology of the week because it's busy and it's a lot. And the title of this episode is Resilience in the Unknown, Grounded Strength, and Astrology for the Leo New Moon. So let's start with what's happening in the stars because the skies are speaking loudly this week. We're moving through a Leo New Moon, and this is one of the most significant events of 2025. This moon is opposite Leo and squares both Chiron, who is the wounded healer, and Eris, which is the goddess of discontent. So there is a lot of tension. So if you're feeling it, It's totally normal. These are polarized, they're push and pull energies, and this is how it may show up for you. So, the shadow side of these energies is power struggles and clashes of ego, especially in politics. So, watch for meltdowns. Watch for meltdowns on a macro and a micro level, right? So, from politicians and the president himself down to the conversations that you might be having with loved ones. Arrogance, defensiveness, and that kind of roaring lion vibe of Leo, but it's turned toxic, right? It's like bark worse than the bite type of energy. And then over dramatizing or acting out to gain control or attention. So these are the shadow energies of this week. This is what we are going to keep an eye out for, because this is Leo in its shadow. So it's kind of look at me, do what I say, I'm right. And if it's happening, and it's happening not just on the public stage, but in our own inner world too. So you may notice yourself swinging between courage and collapse, confidence and control, and be mindful of this. You will observe it outside of you, especially with the current administration. Try to pull back and see it for what it is rather than getting riled up or involved. And when you do get riled up or involved, like I was feeling this morning, then do things that help you to work with that energy and not to be stuck in it. Because I'm not saying don't be part of the resistance, just use your energy wisely. When you see a certain behavior in someone that is clearly their ego on fire, you can say, oh, that silly Leo new moon. How cute of you. All right, so the flip side of that, the light energies. This new moon is also going to bring incredible potential. But you have to meet it with awareness. So Leo is in its highest form is very creative. It's fearless, generous, devoted, loyal to truth and purpose. So we can transmute those darker energies, we can merge them, we can bring them into the light and allow chaos to motivate the soul so that we can create content or be fearless enough to create whatever it is that we need to, being devoted, being loyal, and having that purpose. And I've been having this conversation a lot with my own kids in how we look at times like this and we ask ourselves, how can I be helpful and how can I be hurtful? And we always want to be helpful, right? Or you can ask, how can I be selfish or selfless? Sometimes you do need to, fill your own cup before you fill someone else's. But sometimes we're sharing, filling each other's cups as we trudge through the mud. So ask yourself, what would it look like to lead my life with integrity, even when everything feels unstable? This, again, is something that I ask myself every single day. How can I honor that I feel all the human feels, the day-to-day worries, the anxieties, even that, getting that sense of impending doom every time I update myself on political events. But I also remind myself of history, that this scene has played out before and that we can always learn from our past mistakes and do better. We can always be helpful instead of hurtful. And again, everything that I say or do, I filter it through this. Is it helpful or is it hurtful? And yes, sometimes I say hurtful things and I even know that it's going to sting. And I do it anyways, and I'm human. And I try very hard not to, but we give ourselves some grace. So the harmonious aspects surrounding this new moon are encouraging us to remember that real strength does not roar, it radiates. So where can you radiate warmth, sun, creativity, fearlessness? Where can you radiate these qualities within yourself, into your personal life, and then out into the world? All right, let's talk quickly about Chiron and Eris. So Chiron brings up old wounds to the surface, especially around identity and rejection. If you've ever been told that you're too much or not enough, that pain may resurface now. Chiron represents the deep wound that we carry, that we never truly heal, but that we help heal in others. I know for me right now, personally, I'm going through feeling like not enough, that what I'm doing is not enough, that I'm, being mediocre in all of these different areas of my life. And again, I can allow that negative self talk to be there. Um, and then I can filter it through that. Well, was this helpful or hurtful? And obviously, it's not really helpful and not true. So we want to be so present and so mindful that we can go through that cycle, that process on our own very quickly. So, maybe sometimes not as quickly, but so that we can get through to the other side. Aries is going to add the chaos, the discomfort that forces truth into the open. Together, these two stir the pot, not to harm us, but to help us see what's being buried beneath denial. We have to face our own darkness, walk right through it, integrate it into our light so that we can be the best version of ourselves. So, what are you in denial of? That could be something to think about, to meditate on this week without judgment, just with curiosity. And again, this is why we must practice presence and discernment, because we cannot afford to be swept up in any drama, personal or political, when there is so much at stake. These are life-changing shifts, and I don't know about you, but I never want to miss an opportunity to heal and make this world a better place for myself and others. So now let's talk about how we stay spiritually anchored through all of this, our spiritual resilience. Spiritual resilience is the practice of remembering who you are, even when the world wants to tell you otherwise. So remembering that we are not separate, that you are not separate from God, Buddha, Sri Krishna, goddesses, right? Like whatever energy that you connect with, that you believe in, that's higher than yourself, you're not separate from that. We aren't separate from the birds and the bees and the trees and everything around us. We're not separate from one another. We are all in this together. We are all working together. We are all feeding off of each other's energy. So some of my favorite tools right now, and again, some days some tools are going to work and other days you're going to try, like this morning I tried some yoga and I was like, no, not happening. So kind of like cycling through these could be really helpful. So one is daily meditation, even for just 5 minutes. This lets your nervous system know that you are safe. This has been a huge part of the 90-day sacred slowdown. And just a little plug, you can join us anytime. It's simply a commitment to you for 90 days to be present and to listen to the deeper chambers of your heart. You can do this. Some of the suggestions that I've given is set a timer for 90 seconds for 90 days and write down all of your thoughts. Right? Sitting for 90 days, just connecting with you. Maybe that's through gratitude. That's another tool that we can use right now, not as bypass, but as a rebellion against despair. I practice gratitude all day, every day, when I'm washing the dishes, when I'm doing laundry, even when I'm listening to my kids fight like alley cats. I'm grateful for all of it. And sometimes this can be a slippery slope. I can start to feel guilty that I have all of these things that I have. And I know that there's still so much suffering that other people are experiencing outside of myself. I can donate to charities. I can donate my time. I can send love and light. I can make episodes or social media posts that brings awareness to some of these things. I can help support the other people that are doing those, helping others to live just as wonderful of a life as I am. So practicing that gratitude, surrender. Another is surrender. It's an act of trust. You're not in control of everything, and that's okay. On really tough days, I drop into a child's pose and I have a good long cry. And the last tool, which not the last tool, but the last one that I will mention, is connection to nature, where power is quiet, steady, and cyclical. I'm in my garden every single day, multiple times a day. I swear she calls to me. And you can see the power. One of my favorite things is to see, like, I planted bush beans this year, and they don't have a lot of really great support. Right now, I actually have my son's hockey nets holding them up. Um, and but they will intertwine, they will wrap around each other to support and try to give each other that strength so that they can continue to grow up rather than kind of getting heavy and burned and down. So again, like, we see real true power. If you see someone outside of you that is roaring for power, especially in a toxic way, you know that that's actually really weakness and fear kind of masked. True power is quiet, it's steady, and it's cyclical. And when we return to that power within ourselves, it's easier to see it outside of us as well, and to discern from what is power and what is weakness, but disguised in a roar. And also remember, even if, if all of these tools don't work, if you try daily meditation, if you try gratitude, if you try surrender, if you try going outside, if everything still just doesn't feel right, remember you're not broken. You're being reshaped. And maybe you just write that down. I am not broken. I am being reshaped. Maybe that's your mantra for the day. And another thing is that when you're feeling overwhelmed this week, pause and place a hand on your heart, feel your breath, and say, I am here, I am real, I choose clarity. We want to practical grounding and discernment. So, for the practical part, because spiritual strength needs legs, we cannot do spiritual bypassing here. We can't just sit and manifest world peace, right? We can't just sit and do nothing. We want to ground that energy. That's a very important part of manifesting the things they want. Yes, you want to write it, you want to pray for it, you want to manifest it that way, but then you also want to take steps in your physical body that are going to call that energy to you. So you put it out there, but now you've got to have your body prepared to receive it. So create a simple daily rhythm. This can be morning tea or coffee, journaling, breath work. Set media boundaries and watch for emotional manipulation. It's summer. It's a great time to put your phone down and to just get outside. There's been so many times this summer that I have wanted to take pictures of something, and I have that like battle with myself because I'm like, oh, my phone is inside, but I really want to take a picture. But then if I grab it, right, then it's out here. So set those media phone boundaries. Move your body. Go for walks, practice yoga, work out, let emotion move through you. Remember, we hold our issues in our tissues. And so we want to move our body. We don't want to be lazy. Call in your support circle. Community is how we stay human. So call in your people, reach out, make those connections, create. If you're finding yourself feeling really lonely and that you want to be a part of a community, then create what that is. Put it out there. Find those people. And, lastly, eat, hydrate, and sleep. Resilience lives in the body. We want to fuel our bodies with healthy whole foods. We want to drink plenty of water, especially in the summer months. And you want to rest. You want to sleep. This is how your cells are going to go through their natural regeneration process, is when you are resting. This week, discernment is going to be your superpower, and discernment requires a calm nervous system. If you're constantly triggered or exhausted or upset, you're going to fall into old patterns or false narratives. You're also going to be susceptible to believing false narratives and false behaviors in other people. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to stay connected to your own truth. Use these tools in your body, in your mind, and in your spirit so that you can allow the dust to settle so that you can see clearly. All right, so let's finish with a simple practice to embody all of this. I really liked giving you guys a meditation in my last episode, so I'm giving you another one. So I want you to, I invite you to sit with both feet on the ground, to close your eyes, to engage your core. So draw your navel back to your spine, sitting nice and tall. So think lifting up through the heart space, widening through your collarbone, softening your shoulders away from your ears, softening through the elbows, the hands, softening your jaw. Crown of the head is lifting and reaching up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to just tuck your chin in just slightly. So there's this nice, beautiful, long line of energy from the crown all the way down through the root. And if it feels safe, close your eyes or have a soft gaze at the tip of your nose. And the palms can be face down to ground our energy. And then you're going to slowly start to lengthen and deepen each inhale and exhale. As you inhale, pushing your belly out, filling up your lungs, letting the chest rise, pausing at the top, softening wherever you need to soften, and then slowly releasing that breath, depressing the chest, the ribs hug tight to the body, the navel goes back to the spine. When you think you've pressed out all the breath, press out a little bit more. And then inhale, push your belly out, fill up your lungs, expand, widen, bring that breath all the way up through the collarbone, pause, hold, soften, and slowly release. Depressing the chest, ribs hug tight to the body, navel goes back to the spine. Press all the breath out. When you think you've pressed it all out, press it a little bit more. And then inhale, push your belly out. Fill up your lungs. Let the chest rise. Pause, hold, and slowly release. Good. Now, on your next inhale, slowly, you can either say out loud or repeat in your head, I am grounded. Inhaling, I am grounded. Exhale slowly, I choose presence. Inhale slowly, I am grounded. Exhale slowly, I choose presence. Inhale again, I remember who I am. Exhale, I radiate truth. Inhaling, I remember who I am. Exhale, I radiate truth. Stay here for a few breaths. Feel the pulse of your own presence. Slowly fluttering the eyes open and noticing what a shift. Just from maybe when you first started this episode to now, or maybe you're fast forwarding just to this little meditation piece, make note. What shifts? What space feels like lighter? Where have you created space? What are you more aware of? Do you feel more clear and grounded? This new moon is no joke, but I promise you it's not here to destroy you. It's here to reveal you, to call forth your courage, to remind you that real power doesn't come from domination, but from devotion. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might be feeling a little unsteady this week. We truly do rise together. And if you'd like to go a little deeper this week, I'm offering a workshop on Tarot Tuesday. So Tuesday from 6 to 7:30. This can either be in studio or virtually. I'll do some, we'll do some more grounding work, and then I'll be doing some tarot readings. We also have Wednesday from 6 to 7 with Tammy, Sacred Stillness. This is where we combine yin and restorative yoga poses so that we can really get into our bodies and kind of close down all of the noise. And then on Saturday at 4 o'clock, there is a sound bath and sound healing with Jess that will only be in the studio. So you can find all of that at amandabryanTherapy.com or sonuyoga.com. And until next time, stay wild, stay grounded, and keep blooming where you are. And that's what she said.